Leeds are Premier League, that's right. The top two spots are confirmed, that's right. But what about the race for the playoffs and to avoid the drop? That race is hot to bloody trot. It's madness. It's the Championship. We all love it. And we're next. That's right, folks. Back once again with another video today. It's all about Matchday number 45, that's right, in the Championship. And we'll get to it in a second. Of course, if you knew where you've been, smash your subscribe and you want to stop shop for Blackburn Rovers, Championship football, world football. We're going to all hear under one roof. We already know Leeds, Burnley, the party time, of course, for those guys. They're back in the Premier League, but what about the race for the playoffs? That's still hot to bloody trot. And, of course, the race to avoid the drop. Still no teams down just yet. But can that happen this weekend? Well, we'll show you in a second, of course. Big shout out to the members, big shout out to the patrons. You know who you are. What we'll do now, though, is head into match number 45 and take a look at those games in just 1 second before we recap the results from Easter Monday. So let's get into it then and have a look at what went down in a mad cap at the top and the bottom of the Championship. Kicking it all off, though, with a recap of the results. Look at that. Cardiff 1-1 against Oxford United. I went with the home win on that one. Hull City with a monumental win over Preston North End 2-1. Leeds won 6-0 on the night, but had to wait for the result at Turnmore to guarantee their Premier League return. Luton Town with a monumental win over high-flying Bristol City, 3-1 win at Kenilworth Road. Millwall with a 3-1 win over Norwich City to keep themselves in the mix of Millwall. Norwich, their season's already over. Plymouth, look at that, 3-1 winners over Frank Lampard's Coventry. Goodness gracious me. Portsmouth also ending their relegation fears with a 1-0 win over Watford. Swansea continued their fine form with a 2-1 win over QPR. Sheffield Wednesday dented Middlesbrough's hopes, 2-1 winners for them at Hillsborough. Rovers did the unthinkable with a 1-0 win over Sunderland as predicted, guys. And Tony Mowbray is fired, sacked, whatever you want to call it, after a 3-1 loss to Derby. Goodness gracious me. John Eustace's boys, monumental win. But, of course, talking point at the bottom there, Burnley sealed promotion alongside with Leeds at the top of the table after beating Sheffield United 2-1. So the table, my friends, looks a little bit like this. It is Leeds, it is Burnley. The battle for the title will probably go down to the wire. Leeds have a superior goal difference, of course. And yeah, it might have a little interesting twist to see who will become champions at the end of it, who will get the trophy, that kind of jazz. Sheffield United are in that sort of limbo land and will settle for third. They're going to have to settle for third. Sunderland settling for fourth, but who will be fifth and who will be sixth? Currently, you're going to go all the way down to, technically, mathematically, Swansea could actually do it. They've got an okay goal difference, but they need to win both their games and hope everything else goes against them, of course. Rovers are also in it. They are just 4 points off of playoffs, depending on what goes on in this week, because it's absolutely madness. And down the bottom, what are we? What's the permutations here? It looks like it will go down to the wire. Will it? Will it go down to the wire? Not necessarily. It could be prolonged. I think we could have a couple people down next week. Honestly, I don't know. I really don't know. But look at it. It's Plymouth, it's Cardiff, it's Luton. Derby just about out of it. Hull City as well. Big win for them. Oxford, of course, is not out of it. Preston aren't out of it. Even Stoke technically aren't out of it with the with their situation there. What are they? 4 points? 4 points from going down. Even mathematically Portsmouth, but, that's not going to happen, is it really? Anyway, we're not going to give you up on the Super Group because it's just madness right now. Trying to keep going, trying to keep my head above water with all the games coming at you around the grounds then. But these are the next round of games. These are the 45th, the penultimate games of the season. And, of course, the last home games for those on the left-hand side, I imagine. I think they're all pretty much, that's how it works, right? So we're going to kick it all off on Friday night. Stoke against Sheffield United. We already know Sheffield United cannot progress into the top two. It is over for them. Stoke still have to win or still have a concerning matter on their hands. Will Sheffield United take it easy on them? Of course, momentum is key. Defeats can just make you rot and just, can cause right old ramifications for those playoffs. So Sheffield United got to kind of manage this well and hopefully do the right thing and play a team that's going to be good enough to get them back into the winning trail. Their form is woeful at the moment. Stoke, though, coming at you on an okay bit of form, despite losing last time around. They are 17th with 50 points for the season, just one defeat in the last 6. Up against Sheffield United, just one win in the last 5. They sit third with 86 points. Now, they played Stoke 26 times since 1994. 5 wins Stoke, 10 wins Sheffield United. There's been 11 draws between the two sides. Now, the last time that these two sides played at the Bet365, it was a 3-1 win for Stoke. That was back in October 2022. The reverse fixture at Bramall Lane was a 2-0 win for Sheffield United. Stoke, though, on the back of that 6-0 loss to Leeds this past Easter Monday. Burnley did beat Sheffield United last time around, of course. So back-to-back away trips for Sheffield United. The odds for this one, though, Stoke actually favoured here. Of course, their tails are not necessarily up, but definitely Sheffield United's tails are definitely down. So Sheffield United expect to win this one with the bookies. I've gone with a 1-1 draw, which again might be enough for Stoke to go. Yeah, I think they should be all right with that point. Sheffield United, again, it's not a defeat, is it? And of course, it will breathe the confidence. Let's go to the early game. It is Luton Town. It's Coventry. What permutations on this one? Kenilworth Road is the venue. Luton Town and Matt Bloomfield are 22nd right now, 46 points for the season, just one defeat in the last 6 up against Coventry. Under Frank Lampard, just one win. In fact, 2 wins in the last 6 matches. They sit 6th with 66 points. They played Luton 17 times since 2005. 6 wins Luton, 5 wins Coventry. There's been 6 draws between the two sides. Now, the last time these two sides played at Luton, it was a 2-2 draw way back in September 2022. Of course, you've got a score to settle with. Of course, that playoff final where Luton came out top on penalties. Goodness gracious me. Back in Wembley not that long ago, nearly 2 years to the day. Coventry, though, on the back of that 3-2 win last time that these two sides played at the RCA Arena back in October. Coventry losing to Plymouth most recently. Luton on the back of a win there, back-to-back wins, crucial wins for them, both home and away this time around against Bristol City. Back-to-back home wins for them, back-to-back home matches for Luton. Bookies on this one, they'll give it to them. They'll give it to Luton. It's one of them. Could go either way. I'm backing Luton to cause another upset here. 2-1 win to get their season right back on track, and who knows, they might just about do this. But still a lot of football to be played in this prediction video, and of course the rest of the season. QPR against Burnley. Of course, QPR, I think famously beat Burnley last time when they were trying to get promoted on the title or something like that. When of course Burnley, I think they won it at Ewood Park. I don't know. My memory doesn't really remember that well. Martin Cufiente's boys are 15th right now, 53 points for the season. Just they've won 2, lost 2, and drawn 2 over the last 6. Burnley, though, unbeaten in at least the last 6, probably more than that. In fact, they've only lost twice all season. They sit second, 94 points for the season. They played QPR 25 times since the year 2000. 5 wins QPR, 13 wins Burnley, and there's been 7 draws between the two sides. Last time around, it was a 3-0 win for Burnley at Loftus Road. That's back in December 2022. Of course, that famous one that was on about was a 2-1 win for QPR at Turdmore back around about this time last season, of course. But earlier in the campaign at Turdmore, it was a 0-0 draw between these two sides as QPR tried to make it at least 3 games unbeaten against Burnley. Burnley, though, on the back of that 2-1 win over Sheffield United, which, of course, got them promoted. Meanwhile, QPR on the back of that 2-1 loss to Swansea, of course. The odds for this one, quite tight. Burnley expected to win this one, but they might take it easy on this one. Gone with a 2-0 win Burnley. Party atmosphere, of course. They want the title, and the only way they can do that is by maintaining the status quo here against a QPR side. Next up, we go to Ewood Park. It's the Big Val Ishmael derby. It's Rovers. It's Watford. It's coming to Ewood Park. Big Val's boys are 9th, 62 points for the season, unbeaten the last 4, winning 3 on the spin up against Watford and Tom Gloverly, who are 12th, and they've lost 3 on the spin. Now, they played Rovers 17 times since the year 2000. 6 wins Watford. 6 wins Rovers, 8 wins Watford, and it's been 3 draws between the two sides. Now, those last two sides, the last time that these two sides played at Ewood, it was a 2-1 win for Watford. That was back in December 2023. They also picked up a 1-0 win over Rovers at Vicarage Road back in October. Goodness gracious me. Meanwhile, Watford on the back of a 1-0 loss to Portsmouth. Rovers picking up a 1-0 win away to Sunderland. Goodness gracious me. The odds, though, for this one, Blackburn suddenly have their tails up. Of course, expected to win this one with the bookies. I've gone with a 2-0 win as well. To dare I say it, keep the dream alive, we'll see. Cardiff up against West Brom, managerless West Brom. Tony Mowbray is no more. I dropped the video on that shortly after the breaking news. But over in Wales, Cardiff under Aaron Ramsey, winless still in the last 6 matches. They're 23rd in the table, 43 points for the season, up against West Brom. Under Tony Mowbray, no more, that's right. They're 10th in the table. They lost 5 of the last 6, 60 points for the season. They played Cardiff 21 times since 2003. 4 wins Cardiff, 7 wins West Brom, and 10 draws between the two sides. Now, the last time they played at Wales, it was a 1-0 win for West Brom back in November 2023. The reverse fixture, a 0-0 draw for West Brom at the Hawthorns back in October. West Brom are unbeaten against Cardiff over the last 6. However, 4 of the last 6 have ended up all square. West Brom losing to Derby most recently. Cardiff with that 1-1 draw at home to Oxford. The odds for this one, they go in favour of Cardiff, expecting to win this one. I've gone with the 1-0 win as well. They're desperate for the results right now, and West Brom right now have no identity. But they might play with a bit more freedom now that the Mowbray is no more. Meanwhile, Hull City against Derby. This one might have a bit of spice to it, guys, at the MKM Stadium. Hull City, of course, under Ruben Sellis are 20th right now, 48 points for the season, just one win in the last 4. Up against Derby County under John Eustace, also one win in the last 5 matches, of course. 21st in the table, 46 points for the season. They played Hull 24 times since 2005. 8 wins Hull, 12 wins Derby, 4 draws between the two sides. And the last time they played at the MKM, it was a 1-win win for Derby back in August 2021. The reverse fixture at Pride Park was a 1-1 draw back in October. Derby, though, picking up a 3-1 win over West Brom. Hull also beating Preston last time around. And it's actually back-to-back home matches for Hull, who have got a good record of late at the MKM Stadium. The odds right here, right now, though, do go in favour of Hull here. Derby, of course, underdogs for the derby. I've gone with a 2-1 win as well for the Tigers to give them a boost and maybe dent Derby's hopes once again in that battle for survival. Meanwhile, battle for the playoffs continues as Middlesbrough take on Norwich. That's right, coming at you at Riverside. Middlesbrough under Michael Carrick are 7th, 63 points for the season, just 1 win in the last 4. Up against Norwich under Jonas Torp, winless in the last 5. They sit 14th with 53 points for the season. They played Middlesbrough 20 times since 1997. 9 wins Borough, 7 wins Norwich. There's been 4 draws between the two sides. Last time around, over at the Riverside, it was a 3-1 win for Middlesbrough back in March 2024. Of course, Norwich, though, picking up a 3-3 draw with Borough back at Carrow Road back in October. Middlesbrough actually unbeaten against Norwich over the last 6, picking up 4 wins and a couple of draws. Norwich, though, on the back of a 3-1 loss to Millwall. Borough losing the Sheffield Wednesday, of course, as you do. The odds right here, right now, go in favour of Borough. Borough expected to win on this one. I've gone with a 2-0 win as well for Borough, unfortunately, which edges them closer to the top 6, but still, we'll see what happens at the end of the season. Millwall up against Swansea. Two sides in a good bit of form right now. Millwall just won defeat in the last 5, are 8th right now, 63 points for the season. Up against Swansea, Alan Sheeran has won 5 on the spin. They are the form team right now. They sit 11th with 60 points for the season. They played 20 times since 2006, 6 wins Millwall, 9 wins Swansea. There's been 5 draws between the two sides. Now, the last time they played at the Den, it was a 3-0 win for Swansea back in September 2023. The reverse fixture in Wales was a 1-0 win for Millwall back in October. Millwall have won back-to-back over Swansea, back-to-back clean sheets as well. They're coming into this on the back of that 3-1 win over Norwich. As for Swansea, big 2-1 win over QPR to keep their dream alive. And the bookies going in favour of Millwall here. Swansea are really the team to fear right now, playing with, I don't know, just a bit of freedom. I don't think they can mathematically do it, can Swansea. But I've gone with the 2-0 win for Millwall, which really puts an end to Swansea and keeps the fire burning for Millwall into the final game of the season. Let's go to the Kazam as Oxford take on a safe as houses Sunderland. Of course, safe as houses meaning they're in the top 4. They can't go up, can't go down. They're just waiting for the playoffs right now. Taking on an Oxford side on the Gary Rout, who have still got to look over the shoulder just a little bit there. They played 16 times since 1994. 2 wins Oxford, 8 wins Sunderland. There's been 6 draws between the two sides. Now, the last time they played, we'll get to that in a minute. Oxford coming into this, just 1 win in the last 4 matches. They are 19th, 49 points for the season. Sunderland lost 3 on the spin. They sit 4th with 76 points for the season. Now, the last time they played at the Kazam, it was a 2-1 win for Sunderland back in April 2022. The reverse fixture, a 2-0 win for Sunderland at the Stadium of Light back in October. Sunderland, though, picking up a 1-0 loss to Blackburn, of course. Cardiff and Oxford drawing last time around as Oxford look for their first win in a couple. The odds for this one, though, Oxford is quite tight. Could go either way. Bookies think it's Sunderland just. I've gone with a 1-0 as well for Sunderland, who had chances against Rovers, but really weren't as clinical as they need to be. With the playoffs right around the corner. Preston off end up against Plymouth in the Battle of the Peas, coming at Deepdale. Must-win territory for Plymouth. Must-win territory for Preston as well. This one could be an interesting one here, as Preston under Paul Hackenbottom are 18th right now, 49 points for the season. They are winless in the last 6 matches. They've lost 3 on the spin. Up against Plymouth under Miran Musolic, who've won 3 and lost 2 of the last 5. They sit 24th with 43 points for the season. There is 6 points between these two sides. Plymouth have got their own battle on their hands, of course, trying to get out of the drop zone. Preston mathematically can still go down. There is a comfortable chance that they could be in a relegation mire, with this game being as massive it is for Plymouth as it is for Preston, of course, who still have that hoodoo hanging over their head. Anyway, they played 15 times, 6 wins for Preston, 2 for Plymouth, and it's been 7 draws. Now, the last time they played at Deepdale was a 2-1 win for Preston back in September 2023. The reverse fixture at Plymouth was a 3-3 draw back in October. Of course, Preston are unbeaten against Plymouth over the last 6. They've won 3 and they've drawn 3, and they're coming into this, though, on the back of that 2-1 loss to Hull. Plymouth on the back of that 3-1 monumental win over Coventry. They haven't picked up an away win in a long time, which is not good food for thought, but they did beat Liverpool. Remember that. They've got some cojones in there, and they did, I think, round Man City close as well in this season. Anyway, coming at you, the bookies' odds for this one then, shall we? It is tight. Preston expected to win on this one. Pure and full, but hey-ho, away you go. I'm going with the Green Army here. Upset on the cards, and I guess what? This is the Championship. Don't back Nothing's unbackable here. Everything is possible in the Championship. We're going with the 1-0 win for Plymouth to upset the apple cart and put Preston right in the shit for the final game of the season. Sheffield Wednesday up against Portsmouth, coming at you at Hillsborough. Of course, bit of a dead rubber this one. Wednesday under Danny Roll are 13th right now, 56 points for the season, just on the back of just one win in the last 6. Portsmouth under John Mousinho are 16th, 52 points for the season, unbeaten the last 3 and back-to-back wins. They played each other 11 times since 2000. 4 wins Wednesday, 3 wins Pompey, 4 draws between the two sides. Last time around over at Sheffield Wednesday, it was a 3-3 draw back in July 2022. That was in League One. The reverse fixture, of course, 2-1 winners it was for Wednesday in the Championship. That was back at Fratton Park back in October. So Wednesday are unbeaten against Portsmouth over the last 6, picking up 4 wins and a couple of draws. Wednesday picking up a 2-1 win over Borough last time around. Portsmouth also on the back of a win over Watford. That's right. The odds right here, right now, of course, they back Wednesday, of course, under Danny Roll. I think it was quite tight. Could go either way, but I'm backing Wednesday to get the win. Portsmouth taking the L. And then finally, Leeds against Bristol City, of course. Leeds trying to be champions. They must win, according to my odds here, with Burnley winning. They are top right now as of recording, and they have the goal difference at the moment. But if they draw or stutter or whatever, then guess what? Burnley will probably be in the driving seat for the final game of the season. Anyway, they're taking on Bristol City at Ellen Road on Sunday, the 28th of the 4th. Leeds, of course, top of the pops, 94 points for the season. They won 4 on the spin up against Bristol City, who are 5th. 67 points for the season, just 1 defeat in the last 5. They played 19 times since 2010, 15 wins Leeds, 1 win for Bristol City, and there's been 3 draws between the two sides. And the last time they played at Ellen Road, it was a 2-1 win for Leeds back in October 2023. The reverse fixture at Ashton Gate was a 0-0 draw back in October. Bristol City on the back of that 3-1 loss to Luton, of course. It was the away match there. Leeds on the back of that 6-0 win over Stoke. Will they put up a fancy scoreline now that they're back in the Premier League? Who knows? Of course, the odds for this one then, Leeds are expected to win this game comfortably ahead of a Bristol City side who are still trying to secure that top 6 spot. I've gone with a win for Leeds, 3-1 winners on the night, and if I'm right, this is what the table will look like at the end of match day number 45. It will be Leeds, it will be Burnley going into the final game of the season with the title on the line. Sheffield United remain in 3rd, of course they do, as do Sunderland. Bristol City are in the playoff spots, they're still there, as are Borough are still there. Level on points with Coventry, level on points with Millwall and Rovers, still on the outside looking in, heading into the final game of the season, of course. Going down, though, we still don't know, but it does look grim for everybody down there. However, Derby are in the drop zone, Cardiff in the drop zone, all on 46 points, 3 points adrift of Luton, Oxford and Preston, of course. Goal difference could be a massive factor on this one as we head into the final game of the season with 6 teams still fighting for their lives. Of course, that's why we love the Championship, and that's why we'll be back next week for the next round of games. But until then, subscribe, smash the like, catch you later. Until then, we're done.